Let's get it. 580 Sports Talk is live and direct on a Thursday. We've got 3 hours of sports talk coming your way this afternoon on the Sports Voice of Kansas, 580 WIBW, FM 104.9, online at 580WIBW.com, and in living color on our video stream. Check us out on YouTube. 580 Sports Talk is the name of the channel. You can watch us on Facebook at WIBW News. However you're joining the program today, thanks for tapping in. We're with you until 6 o'clock here on 580 Sports Talk. My name is Dan Lucero. Spencer Dupuis will be along later on. Brendan Dworzynski is off today. 3 hours of sports talk. It's a Royals off day today, but it is an on day for KU and K-State football, opening up their camps. K-State had their first open to the media practice today. KU had their first practice today. And, of course, Chiefs training camp continues in St. Joe. So we got a lot of football on today's program. Andy Reid spoke to the media in St. Joe today. We'll hear from him. Also hear from Creed Humphrey, Leo Chanel a little bit later on in the program. Some more observations from the earliest days of training camp. You know, when you're talking about a team going into training camp that's won 3 consecutive AFC championships and 3 Super Bowls in an era, and there's no real controversy about who's going to be the quarterback, who's going to play all these other important positions. The time before the pads go on, and that'll be Sunday, according to Andy Reid. The time before the pads go on, not a lot can really be said, in truth, about practice. That's a good thing. You want no drama the first week. Like, you go and you read the reports out of, like, let's say it's Colts camp, and you've got people breathlessly comparing, well, how did Anthony Richardson look vis-a-vis Daniel Jones? Or Bears camp, it was noteworthy Caleb Williams threw a pick on his first pass at camp. Or Jackson Dart, the 6th overall pick for the Giants this past NFL draft. He threw a pick his first pass at camp. Aaron Rodgers threw an interception his first pass today at Steelers camp. That's the kind of stuff that gets reported when that's of interest, when that's of concern, when that's of consternation. It literally does not matter if Patrick Mahomes throws an interception at camp. Like, nobody's going to rend any garments over that. Likewise, we don't have to do the thing like, and I say this jovially because I know people in a personal way who cover the Denver Broncos. And I see some posts on social media today about, wow, Bo Nix looks like he's really processing things faster in his second NFL camp. Brother, it's shorts and shells. How do you know? You know, like, really, we're doing this? I know everybody found it to be ridiculous that Nix was the 64th best player in the NFL, according to the NFL's top 100. Preposterous. Absolutely absurd. That anybody would rather have Bo Nix before they would want to have, say, Creed Humphrey or Trent McDuffie, the 2 Chiefs that have ranked lower on the list. Neither here nor there. But you have to do that kind of stuff when you're going into a camp. And we don't have to do that with the Chiefs. The Chiefs training camp notes from the beat writers, from the observers is, well, yeah, here's who's running with the ones. Here's what the first team O-line looks like. That's about it. You know, it's a no drama camp, and that's the best kind of training camp that the Chiefs are in the middle of in this first week in St. Joe. So we'll talk a little bit about some of the observations from today, and one rookie who looks like he's going to get every opportunity to start. And no, I don't mean Josh Simmons, because we already know he's going to get every opportunity to start. I'm talking about a different guy. And one mainstay, veteran on the defensive side of the ball that might have their roster spot maybe in a little bit of jeopardy. So we'll talk about that. And like I said, we'll hear from Andy Reid coming up here in a little bit. We'll hear from Creed Humphrey and Leo Chanel later on in the program. KU also opened camp today. We'll play a little bit of Lance Leipold. He spoke for about 20 minutes earlier today. I pulled a couple of, I thought, interesting questions and answers from Lance Leipold's introductory press conference as the Jayhawks took the field for the first time. We won't hear from Chris Kleiman, the K-State head coach, until Monday, but certainly we'll bring you some of his camp opening remarks. They are practicing, open to the media. Saw some clips of Avery Johnson throwing a Lincoln Cure earlier today, if you're into that kind of thing. So the buzz is building. Football's just around the corner. So lots of football to talk about on today's show. And speaking of KU and K-State's respective head coaches, friend of the program, Shahan Jayaraja of CBS Sports, put together his preseason power ranking of the Big 12 coaches. Thinks very highly of both Chris Kleiman and Lance Leipold. But I got some thoughts on the rest of the list. I think there are some guys who are a little too high, and maybe one guy in particular who's much too low. But we'll get to that later on in the show. Also, some baseball to talk about. Again, it's a Royals off day today. Tomorrow night, Royals open up a 3-game set at home against Cleveland to open a 6-game homestand. I'm of the mind that the Royals aren't going to pull the trigger on anything trade-wise until after this weekend. They're going to see how they come out against Cleveland. I think this is the series that will make the decision for J.J. Picollo, because I don't think you can take it all the way to Thursday when the trade deadline is. We're a week away now. We're a week and 2 hours, just under 2 hours away. It's a 5 o'clock Central Time trade deadline next Thursday, the 31st. I don't think you can take it all the way to the end of the Atlanta series Wednesday afternoon and then say, all right, here's what you're doing. J.J. Picollo's got to pick a direction. And I think that they will pick a direction based on how this Cleveland series comes out. So kind of a big one. We'll do all of the requisite previewing of the weekend on tomorrow's show, but I did want to talk about some of the latest rumors and rumblings regarding the Royals at the trade deadline and talk about the idea of threading the needle, being able to make moves that might help you for the short term and the long term and might provide the Royals an opportunity to do the thing that I think they should do that's probably the smart thing to do, which is trade Seth Lugo, but do it in a way that allows you to add to the team immediately and maybe help you over the long haul as well. There's one rumor out there in particular from Ken Rosenthal's column at The Athletic from yesterday involving Boston. I'm not a big fan of that one, and I'll talk about why, but the possibility is there for the Royals to thread the needle a little bit. And we'll get into that later in the show. Got some local sports to get to today with our guy Rick Peterson from TopSports.news. We will talk to Pistol coming up at the bottom of this hour. He's our guest today. Talk to him about some very unfortunate injury news for one of the very best athletes in the city for the coming high school sports year. Also get his thoughts on the upcoming MIAA Media Days and what he's looking forward to hearing from head coach Zach Watkins. Some other topics as well with Pistol. He joins us at the bottom of the 3 o'clock hour for the local sports spotlight. Plus all of our usual Thursday shenanigans. We'll do either or over under. We'll get into our 580 sports talk headlines, 2 new stories on what is wrong with you, including maybe, I don't know that it's the best story of the year, but it is absolutely the best visual of the year. So you might want to be on the YouTube channel if you haven't seen it yet today for What Is Wrong With You in the 4 o'clock hour, because I do think it is our best visual so far this year for What Is Wrong With You. We want to hear from you as well throughout the program today. Shoot us a text, 785-272-9429. That's 785-272-9429. You can also interact in the live chat. If you are watching on our YouTube channel, 580 Sports Talk, go subscribe to the YouTube channel if you have not yet. There's a live chat window there. You can interact with your fellow listeners and your hosts throughout the show. You can also comment on Facebook. If you're watching the show on Facebook today, WIBW News, and I mention that because we have a couple of Facebook viewers today. Hello to David watching us from Cedar Hill, Texas, and Stephanie watching us from the city of Big Shoulders, Chicago, Illinois. So welcome to both of you for watching the program today, and feel free, if you are watching on Facebook, to jump in with comments, questions, and we can see those and interact with you in that way as well. Again, however you're tuning in, appreciate you being here. Mark H. is in the chat. Joe is in the chat. Christopher's in already as well. Appreciate seeing all of you in the YouTube chat as we get rolling here on 580 Sports Talk. Let's talk about day 3 in St. Joe. Chiefs wrapping up practice earlier today. Later on in the program, we'll hear from, I figured I'd do one offense and one defensive player. There was only one defensive player who spoke today. That was Leo Chanel. We'll hear from him. We'll also hear from Creed Humphrey. Interesting guy to talk to. He's the anchor of a rebuilt offensive line. His buddy to his right, Trey Smith, just got paid. So look forward to hearing from Creed later on as well. We're going to hear from Andy Reid in just a little bit. Couple of notes I wanted to talk about on the defensive side, and this was something that we picked up on a little bit yesterday. Observers at camp picked up on a little bit yesterday, but something that I wanted to talk about with a little bit more space to discuss it, which we have on today's program, which we were short yesterday due to Royals baseball, so we didn't really have as much time. First things first, on the defensive line, the Kansas City Chiefs appear willing to give Omar Norman Lott every chance. Omar Norman Lott, excuse me. I think I added an I that did not belong. Omar Norman Lott, they're going to give him every chance to win a starting job. He is playing a lot of first-team reps. Now, he's not starting with the first team. When the Chiefs have run their first unit on defense out there, it has started with Chris Jones alongside Mike Pennell. And I think Pennell, they'll manage his snaps this year because he's a veteran guy, but he's probably in that Derek Nottie role of, yeah, he may start some games, but he's out there on rundowns. You will not see Mike Pennell on a third down and longer than like 3 all season long if the Chiefs can help it. But Omar Norman Lott is the guy who's been slotting in with the first team and playing quite a bit. And what I like about Norman Lott is that he comes in with the potential to add some pass rush pop to the defensive tackle position that nobody else other than Chris Jones really offers. Turk Wharton was the guy who offered that last year, but he left in free agency, signed that big 3-year deal with Carolina. Earned the money. Good for Turk. Chiefs can't pay everybody. But the Chiefs were now missing that element alongside Chris Jones of a guy who could create some havoc and collapse a pocket from the middle. Omar Norman Lott showed the ability to do that in college. The biggest question for him is, can he do it with a heavier snap load than what he carried in college? Tennessee's defensive line last year was so deep that Norman Lott hardly got on the field. He was outstanding, but his snap percentage was much lower than you would expect for somebody who got picked in the second round of the draft. And it's lower than what you would expect it would need to be this year for the Chiefs. Because, look, Mike Pennell's not going to keep him off the field in pass rush downs. Jerry Tillery is not going to stand in Omar Norman Lott's way. If Norman Lott's good enough to play, he'll play more than Tillery does. 100%. So the Chiefs are going to find out. And Pete Sweeney, who's covered the Chiefs for a very long time, noted on X that it's really rare in his experience to have seen a rookie get this much time with the starters on the defensive line, or as much time as Omar Norman Lott is getting. So the path is clear. If he proves he can do it, he's going to play a lot as a second round rookie. In the secondary, we talked about the ones the other day. Christian Fulton's out, so he's obviously not a factor right now. He's still not practicing on the PUP list. So it's been Jalen Watson, Trent McDuffie, Chamari Connor with the ones, with that first unit in the 5 defensive back set with Connor playing in the slot. The second team corners have been Noel Williams, the third-round pick out of Cal, Nazeeh Johnson on the other side, and then Chris Roland Wallace in the slot. that could spell trouble for Joshua Williams, who I thought coming into last year, and I was not alone in this. I think we talked last year about an NFL.com article that said that Joshua Williams had a chance to be the breakout guy in the Chiefs secondary in 2024. The Chiefs were obviously looking for a breakout guy after the trade of L'Jarius Sneed. Joshua Williams is big. He's physical, former 4th-round pick. And there was a lot of optimism for him. And he didn't deliver. He didn't play particularly consistently. He got better as the year went on, but I don't feel like he's a guy right now who has a roster spot on lock. Chris Roland Wallace is more versatile and helped out on special teams last year. Undrafted guy is active for all 17 games, tells you coaching staff thinks highly of him. We know that Spags really likes Najee Johnson. And look, we all took our turns behind these microphones last year criticizing Najee Johnson because there were certainly moments where he was exposed, where he was beaten one-on-one, he had trouble in man coverage, those kinds of things. But this is year 2 back from the ACL tear that cost him 2023. And remember, going into 2023, going into the summer, there was a lot of Najee Johnson hype, a lot of really positive Najee Johnson hype. And the thought that he maybe could have emerged as a starter in 2023 if not for the torn ACL in the summer. Well, now he's 2 years removed from that. And there are times, especially at positions like defensive back, wide receivers, another one, it takes you a couple years to get all the way physically back from the ACL. That's a primary concern about Rashee Rice this year. Is he going to look all the way like himself? Early returns have been great, really promising. A lot of people say he looks like the same Rashee Rice, but that's not a guarantee. And not everybody's knees heal the same. It's very possible that Najee Johnson's physically more capable in 2025 than he was in 2024. And if he is, and he has to trust to Steve Spagnuolo, then that's the guy who is going to make the team. And I don't think they're going to cut a 3rd-round pick in Noah Williams either. So Joshua Williams may have to show out in training camp, keep his job. And that's quite a fall from a guy who, going into last year, looked like he was on the precipice of becoming a fixture in that Chiefs secondary. Enough for me. What do you say we hear from Andy Reid, huh? The Chiefs head coach spoke after practice today, and you're going to want to listen to his Tyrann Mathieu impression as Big Red tipped his cap to the recently retired Honey Badger. But here's what Andy Reid had to say after practice today in St. Joe.
All right. These were the injuries here. The guys that didn't practice, at least. Fulton, Taylor, Watson, everybody else is gone and has done a good job. Just a shout out to Tyrann for a great career. Mathieu, what a great career he had. The game will miss him, miss his energy. Definitely an energy giver, great leader. Hopefully he gets into coaching because he'd be a heck of a coach if he decides to go that way. He'd be tremendous. But we wish he and his family all the best going forward here. With that, it's been great to get out here, get these days in. We've had 3 really good days of work where we get 1s against 1s, 2s against 2s, 3s against 3s. So there's some competition there and some good solid work. It's ramp-up period. We've got another day or 2 of this, and then we start right in with pads and on Sunday. So anyways, with that, time's yours.
You mentioned Tyrann Mathieu to kick this off. What was your reaction when you heard that he was retiring? And secondly, what's his legacy in your opinion?
Yeah, well, the legacy is great ball skills, great player, great guy. Always been a team captain everywhere he's been at, including here. He got a Super Bowl championship here, and he was a leader on defense. So I think he'll leave all that behind. But and that's not even talking about being – if he chose to do that throughout his career, he probably would have set all the records of punt returner. So he was tremendous at that. Anyway, I could go on and on about him. The Honey Badger. That'll be part of the legacy also. He would sit on the bench there and he'd make all kinds of funny noises. You know, not only did he have the blonde hair, but he you'd be over there making all those noises. But what a great kid! Loved to coach him.
Reid Humphrey, I wonder if you could sum up what he's meant to you guys, and what do you think enables his success?
Yeah, well, and he's still young, so he's a very good athlete. Great balance, ex-wrestler, great balance and upper body strength. He's got lower body. One of the stronger guys on the team, and he's got a nice feel for the game. Plus, he's very intelligent. Yeah.
Andy, what do you think from Taekwondo so far?
Yeah, I like what I've seen. He's working hard at it. He's made some big catches out here, working his routes, playing physical in his transition game there. So you just got to keep coming. Right? We're still young in this thing, so we got to keep bringing it here.
How does Simmons and Moore look so far at your tackle spots?
Yeah, they've done some good things. They're getting better. They get better and better every day. So it's been good that way. Young guys working. Looking forward to getting the pads. It's hard to evaluate them and doing this, but it's we'll see how they do with the pads on.
Andy, early impressions of Jalen Royals too. Your rookie receiver Jalen Royals.
Yeah.
Early impressions of him.
Yeah. So he looks like he's very smart because we're in our third install here today, and we load him up with plays early, and he's been able to retain a lot of the things the newer stuff that we introduced to him before, and the new stuff we've introduced now. So that's a good sign. And then he's made some catches. You've seen it out here. He's made some catches, and does he have a long way to go? Yeah, well, he's got to keep working and work through all of this, and we'll see how it goes when everything's flying.
Andy, what have your impressions been of Gardner Minshew so far, leading the second team? He's been around the league, a lot of different systems, how he's adapted to your offense.
Yeah, you can see that with Gardner. You can see that he's smart. He's got good accuracy, poise. I think it's great to have him here. We're pleased to have him here. And you kind of have a heads up because he's actually started in games. So you kind of know how he handles the pressure in that. So we liked what we saw on tape, and I've seen the same thing here. So it should be fine.
Coach, you might have the best view of anybody because you're standing behind Patrick during practice. Are there still moments that you see him do something on a day like this and just be like, geez, where did that come from? Or are you just so focused on what's going on that it doesn't kick in sometimes?
No, I tell the coaches this all the time. You never take that for granted. So appreciate every one of those throws he makes because you don't get that very often in a career and as a coach. And yeah, absolutely. There are times I go, whoa, that was pretty good right there now. So, yeah.
Coach Reid, after the heavy workload last year, what are you expecting out of Kareem Hunt this year?
He's had an off season. He kind of missed 2 off seasons there, and he had this off season. He worked hard. Now he's coming into training camp. He's in good shape, and I would expect good things. He'll be in there rotating and doing his thing, and he's just a good, solid football player. Man. I love having him here.
I'm curious what you thought of bringing Sewell to bring him aboard, and how valuable is it having a fourth tight end? Did you choose to do that?
Yeah, so Brett gets the credit for that one. He loved him and loved what he saw, and so far the kid has done a nice job. Again, let's see how he does when things get going, but he's working in there. Looks like the quarterbacks trust him. They're throwing it to him, so it's positive. Yeah.
Last one, mate.
Andy, he's been with you the longest, I should say, but I know it's just 3 days in. Any difference you're seeing in the way Travis is moving before you get to pads?
Yeah, he's svelte right now. It looks like he's 20. He's doing a good job. He's in great shape, and I'm not sure he didn't come in first on the whole conditioning thing. He was right up front. You can see he's been working out. You saw him yesterday on the long one where he had the burst, and so he's doing a nice job. He's worked hard to get to this spot here. So, yep. All right. Thank you.
So that's Andy Reid. That is what the head coach of the Kansas City Chiefs had to say earlier today. How about that Tyrann Mathieu impression? The chattering from the bench. That was great stuff. We'll take a timeout. When we come back, we'll hear from another head coach. Lance Leipold spoke to the press after day one of KU football camp. Some choice cuts from Lance Leipold's availability from earlier today. And then Rick Peterson joins the show for the local sports spotlight. Busy first hour, busy show today. So glad you're with us here on 580 Sports Talk. Just getting revved up on this edition of 580 Sports Talk. Dan Lucero with you. Spencer Dupuis will be along in the 4 o'clock hour. Brendan Dworzinski is off today. KU football practicing in the shadow of the new booth. Opened up their training camp earlier today. Jalen Daniels looking spry, feeling good, and ready for a full fall camp for the first time in a few years. That's obviously wonderful news for the Jayhawks as they look to return to bowl eligibility for a third time in 4 years this coming season. Lance Leipold spoke with the media earlier today. I'm not going to play you all 20 minutes of what Lance had to say, but did want to bring you his general observations, as well as a couple of questions I thought were pertinent. One about the meaning of beginning this camp and being able to see where you're going to get to play your home games for the year. I think it's a big deal. And also a question about the running back room. Who replaces Devin Neal? What's the shape of that position taking? Lance Leipold talked about that as well. Here are some comments from the head coach of the Jayhawks.
How would you assess the first day camp overall?
You know, very pleased, great attitude. They've been anxious to get out there and play for real. And
yeah, just how would you assess the first day camp overall?
very pleased. Great attitude. They've been anxious to get out there and play for real, and love the attitude and the hustle so far. But threw a lot at them. It's a good first day of first step. We got a lot to work on yet, but I like where it's trending.
Coach, obviously, all the players and coaches have been around all this construction on a daily basis. But could you offer some perspective on today being the official opening of camp in the shadow of this new stadium? Some perspective on where things have come in your time here.
It's probably the biggest thing I have noticed right now. My wife said it to me last night. She asked me if I washed my car. And I said no, and that I hadn't washed it like for a week. But with all the construction and things blowing out, my car was always dirty, and washing it would just be dirty the next day. So the progression of what's happening has been a nice thing about changing that. We're getting closer to this thing being completed. Is that the months and year that it's gone through, but. It's been neat. It's a great backdrop. We see the photos all the time. Our guys are excited. I mentioned with going on the field yesterday with Travis, and that some of our players leaked out there and stuff just off to the corner and started taking videos. Guys are excited, and I hope our fans are excited about it, because it is definitely a game-changing structure for us. So it's a program statement. It's everything that's needed. It's going to be exciting. I think it'll be something as we get closer and we go practice in there and it becomes a reality. It's going to be something special.
Coach, what's the running back room going to look like in the post Devin Neal era, and what's Daniel Highshaw play into that?
Yeah, glad you asked that, because watching Daniel Highshaw kind of emerge out of the shadow of Devin and never taking any away we all know what a special person Devin was for this program and university and community, but it's been also invigorating, I think, is probably a good word, to watch Daniel Highshaw kind of see that he has this opportunity, and this program believes in him, and he's become a more vocal leader. He's worked on being a leader in many different ways. So I'm excited for him, and really I say, much like I say about Jalen, guys who have battled injuries in this program and things. You're extra pulling for them in those instances. LeSean Williams, I think, is a great compliment and gives us two physical running backs. And LeSean's one that would admit that, he's kind of told us he's got a new lease on football and everything, and really probably didn't come here in the greatest of shape, and really had to, from where he was in practice one in the spring to where he ended up. And now where he's at is really leaps and bounds. So I'm really excited for him. Harry Stewart's back practicing today. Johnny Thompson, and then John Kelly, Justin Thurman are two young players that have a lot of ability. It's all new to them, but they're hustling and coachable, and I think it's going to be a position of depth.
That's some of what Lance Leipold had to say in Lawrence earlier today. Vance, I think, has it exactly right in the YouTube comments, says no one can replace Devin Neal. You can't. You don't replace a player of that ability. You don't replace a player who meant that much to the program. But you got to try and recreate the production. And maybe it's like Moneyball. We recreate him in the aggregate with LeSean Williams and Daniel Highshaw. I think that can be still productive. But, it won't be number 4. It won't look the same, certainly early on in the season. Rick Peterson joins us next for the local sports spotlight here on 580 Sports Talk. We are joined on the Plumbing Place Wine and Spirits hotline by the great Rick Peterson of TopSports.news for the local sports spotlight. Pistol covers all things high school athletics in Shawnee County and Washburn University sports as well at TopSports.news. And he joins us every Thursday at this time. And Pistol, with the NFL in training camp and college teams starting to get to camp, it won't be long before those high school teams get to training camp. It starts to feel a little bit more like football every day, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. I mean, we go to the MIAA Media Day on Monday at Emporia State, and then August 18th we start practice for the preps, and right away we'll be going full bore.
I'm glad you mentioned MIAA Media Day because I did want to talk about that. Our Brendan Dorzinski and Trenton Kraxner will be there, part of the broadcast team for the Ichabods on our sister station, Country 106.9. What are you looking forward to hearing from Zach Watkins and the Washburn contingent? What are you interested in finding out about them as they prepare for really a new era of Washburn football this year?
Well, I'm sure they've revamped the roster a little bit since the last time. Last time since I talked to Zach, and I'm really anxious to see that and see how all that's playing out, and just his thoughts. What's his vision for this program? We know a little bit about that from when he was hired, but it's been a few months now, and I'm sure he's got a plan in place, and this will be his first media day, so I'm sure he's excited, probably a little bit nervous too, but it'll be fun.
When I've watched Washburn the last couple of seasons, certainly last season, it was a lot of explosiveness on offense. And unfortunately, they lost some of that offensive explosiveness with Trey Richardson heading to the SEC playing for Vanderbilt. But how do you believe that this regime and this Washburn program will try and recreate some of that? Because you'd better be explosive in the MIAA, because there are a bunch of teams in that conference who can flat out move and score the football. So if you're not scoring, you're getting left behind.
Yeah, I was disappointed. I was happy for Trey, but I was disappointed that Trey moved on, because I really wanted to see Trey Richardson and Kai Thomas in that same backfield together. But they still got some explosiveness. DJ Bell can be as good as anybody in the conference, and I think he'll need to step up, and I think he will. But you're right, and I think they're going to have more of a run pass offense. I'm hearing good things about a couple of transfers, and so but you're right. I mean, you better be prepared to score, because for one thing, you're not going to have many shutouts in the MIAA. Right. So you got to outscore people.
Not a lot of 10-7 ball games.
Yeah, exactly.
In the MIAA. Rick Peterson joining us for the local sports spotlight here on 580 Sports Talk. You mentioned Kai Thomas. I'm so excited to see what it can be for him, because certainly Washburn's had some good running backs the last couple of years, but nobody with the kind of pedigree and the kind of major conference Division I success that Kai Thomas has had. He was the MVP of a bowl game. He was one of his team's top rushers as a freshman at Minnesota. He was productive at KU before injuries hit. Certainly the potential is still there for Kai Thomas, and the fact that he gets to do it close to home, I'm as excited to see him as I've been excited to see any Ichabod football player the last certainly since I've been here.
I agree. And the thing is, Kai wants to go out with a bang, and he wants to get his name out there. So maybe get a tryout for a pro look. He's got some thoughts in mind, and he really wants to make the most of his final year. And I think you mentioned it, but I think being at home just gives him that extra pep in his step.
We're talking to Rick Peterson of TopSports.news for the local sports spotlight here on 580 Sports Talk. We do it every Thursday at this time. Pistol, some unfortunate injury news from the summer grassroots basketball circuit as Washburn Rural star junior Maddie Vickery posted to her social media accounts this week that she has torn her ACL, or suffered an ACL injury, I guess I should say, at the Nike Nationals, one of the top basketball recruits in her class in the country, certainly one of the top players in the state of Kansas, and certainly throws her availability. I'm not here to rule anybody out, but throws her availability into question for the coming 2025-26 basketball season. Injuries are a part of the game, of course, but it just rips your guts out when it happens, especially when it happens in the summer and happens to a player as talented and as fun to watch as Maddie Vickery is.
Yes, and if she has to have surgery, and I haven't talked to Coach Bordewick, but if she has to have surgery, I think at the earliest we're looking at, January, February type return, and that depends on how everything goes. But, hey, I'd almost rather if I'm a player or a coach, I'd almost rather have it happen now than in mid-season, where you're going to definitely just miss a ton, and maybe almost, if you have it late in the year, maybe almost parts of 2 seasons. So I think she'll get on it. I think they'll do what they need to do, and then it all depends on how quickly she can get to rehab done and get back on the court.
It's an unfortunate reality that Washburn Rural has dealt with a similar situation in recent years when they lost Zoe Canfield for a season after she got hurt early in, I believe that was her junior year. Of course, Washburn Rural and Coach Kevin Bordewick was able to have their typically outstanding season, even with the loss of such a talented player. It's a hard thing to do, but if there's a coach who knows how to do it and there's a program that's rolled with those punches before, it's those Lady Blues.
Yeah, and their expectations will remain the same. They got some really good freshmen coming in, and I think, Kevin Bordewick's certainly not going to use it as an excuse, and they just need to, and see, like when Zoe hurt hers, she hurt hers in season, and that just really, because you've already had them, you've already got your game plan in place and all that, and then you lose them. So I think at least they're going to go into the season knowing what the situation is and what they need to do, and they'll have a timetable by then. So, like I said, Kevin, he's not going to change anything.
Rick Peterson is our guest here on the Local Sports Spotlight. Pistol covers local athletics at TopSports.news. Joins us every Thursday here on the program. Earlier today on our social accounts, 580 Sports Talk on X and WIBW News on Facebook, we unveiled our broadcast schedule for the upcoming football season. So we're getting excited about the return of high school football. And to a degree, I'm interested in every team in the county for a variety of different reasons, whether it's seeming like a program on the rise, a program that's looking for a turnaround, take a step forward, some interesting returning talent. But I'm wondering what team maybe is top of mind for you. I know we're a month out of practice, or a little less than a month out of starting to have practices, but if there's a program where you're looking at 2025 and thinking, boy, it's going to be a really fascinating and exciting year for this particular Shawnee County football program, who's kind of that top of mind program for you right now?
Well, I want to see how Washburn Rural bounces back. They had a tough year last year after heavy graduation losses, and they got some experience coming back. They're going to have to come up with a good line on both sides of the ball, but they got some good skill people. They got a returning quarterback in Johnny Hoytel. I'm curious with them. I'm also curious with Seaman. Seaman has really been on the rise and had some heavy graduation losses, but I think, just like Coach Bordewick, I don't think Seaman. I don't think Swap's going to change anything they do, and they're just going to try to continue what they've built over the last several years. Silver Lake Rossville are always just great small school programs, and like you said, there's something you can look at from every program of the 10 that excites you.
I would throw Shawnee Heights into that mix, Pistol, with Aiden Scott back at quarterback for his senior year. They can put up crazy numbers. Can they get stops? That's what plagued them last year. They could not get off the field on defense. If Jason Swift gets that defense turned around, and I have no doubt that they're capable, that could be a team that makes a major turnaround from where they were last year.
Yeah, and it always, if you talk to coaches, coaches always start with the trenches. What they're gonna have in the trenches, and you can have a great quarterback, you can have great running backs, you can have great receivers, but if you don't have time to deliver the ball, you're gonna have trouble. So I think every team goes into the season wanting to shore up the line on both sides of the ball.
Rick Peterson covers Shawnee County High School sports and the Washburn Ichabods for TopSports.news. It's an essential daily read. It gets more and more essential the closer and closer we get to the start of college and high school sports season in the area. Joins us every Thursday for the local sports spotlight. Pistol, always a pleasure. We'll do it again next week.
Look forward to it.
That is Rick Peterson. We'll step aside for a timeout, come back and wrap up this hour of 580 Sports Talk. Back on 580 Sports Talk, wrapping up this 3 o'clock hour. You heard me mention that we have rolled out our schedule for the 580 Preps Game of the Week for high school football for 2025. Excited to have put that today out on our social media accounts, 580 Sports Talk on X and WIBW News on Facebook. You can go and you can check out the graphics there. We trying trying to find the graphic so I can throw it up on the YouTube channel for you so you can check it out if you are watching on YouTube as well. We'll be opening the season week 1, Friday night, September 5th, with the War on 24, Rossville at home against Silver Lake. Other big deal matchups this year include city versus city battles week 2, Topeka West, Shawnee Heights, and week 3 with Topeka West taking on Seaman. What should be a barn burner week 4, September 26th, Hayden hosting Wamego. Washburn Rural's homecoming night against Topeka High on October 3rd. Seaman, Shawnee Heights, one of my favorite rivalries in the city. We'll have that game for you October 10th. Should be a fun one, week 7. Silver Lake at home against Osage City. Those are just some of the highlights. Again, you can check out the schedule on our Facebook page, WIBW News, or on X at 580 Sports Talk, or on our website, 580WIBW.com. Coming up in the 4 o'clock hour of the program, can the Royals thread the needle at the trade deadline? Plus, we'll hear from Creed Humphrey and Leo Chanel. That's next on 580 Sports Talk. Let's get it. Hour number 2, 580 Sports Talk on a Thursday afternoon. So grateful you're here with us, checking us out on the Sports Voice of Kansas, 580 WIBW, FM 104.9, online at 580WIBW.com, and of course, in living color on our YouTube channel, 580 Sports Talk, and on our YouTube channel. Had some activity on our Facebook page. Had some activity in the Facebook comments today. Appreciate that. Folks checking us out on the Facebook page, WIBW News. Again, however you're tuning in, we're just glad you're here hanging with us on 580 Sports Talk. I'm Dan Lucero. Spencer Dupuis is in and across the glass. We got 2 more hours to spend with you this afternoon, and we're going to talk a little baseball this hour on 580 Sports Talk. The trade deadline is officially 1 week and 1 hour away. Well, 1 week and 53 minutes away. Trade deadline is next Thursday, 6 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Central. That is when all the dealing must be done across Major League Baseball. Are the Royals buyers or sellers? I'm not even sure they know yet what it is that they are. But these next 3 games this weekend against Cleveland going to go a long way towards deciding what it is that they are. And I think they would benefit if they just would decide now that they are buyers, because it feels like it is becoming more and more a buyer's market. There are a lot more teams right now who maybe felt going into the All-Star break were in the mix that have decided, no, we're not. That then have decided, oh, yeah, absolutely, throttle down, let's go for it. Like the St. Louis Cardinals, for example. They have lost 5 out of 6 out of the break. They got swept by the Diamondbacks and then lost a series to the Colorado Rockies. They got shut out by the Colorado Rockies. And that will convince you that you are actually not that good a baseball team, and that appears to be the case as St. Louis is ready to sell. Arizona, meanwhile, turned around and lost a series, and they now appear, by all accounts, to be ready to sell. Minnesota is now pretty firmly in the seller category. Atlanta is much more firmly in the category of being a seller. So it's a buyer's market. And that could be an advantage for teams who are looking to add, like the Royals. But could they add and subtract and come out with essentially the same kind of chances of making a playoff run as they did prior to the trade deadline? I think there's a chance that the answer to that is yes. And not just because their playoff odds aren't any great shakes to begin with. So we'll talk a little bit about that, some of the rumors, some of the quotes that are out there regarding the Royals and what they may do a week or by a week from today. We'll also get into what is wrong with you. We got 2 new stories coming up later this hour, including what I believe is our best visual of the year. I'm making sure I can throw it up on the screen when we get there. But I think we have our best visual for what is wrong with you of the year to date. So we're going to bring that to you a little bit later on. And then towards the bottom of the hour, we've got some more audio from St. Joe today, day 3 of Chiefs camp. Creed Humphrey spoke to the media today. Always fun to hear from Creed, and an interesting guy to talk to, the anchor of a remade offensive line. And we'll also hear from Leo Chanel, who is entering a bit of a crossroads season himself in his NFL career. So
did you see the tidbits from Kareem Hunt?
What are you talking about?
So
I know he spoke to the media today. We're not going to play that.
Yeah, we're not going to get to that, but he's slimming down a little bit. He says he's cut out fried foods and snacks. He said he misses Little Debbie's Swedish fish and Twizzlers.
See, as much as we talked about this yesterday, I have a very gummy forward diet, but you can keep Swedish fish. I'm out on Swedish fish. I don't like them.
Minority there.
Not for me. To like, what I like about gummy candy is that the difference in the flavors. I like that you can pull the white gummy bear and the green gummy bear. All the Swedish fish taste the same, and I don't think they're as soft. Not for me. Like I file them where I file dots. Like Yeah, gummy adjacent, but not as much fun to eat as the classic Haribo gold bag of gummy bears. Personal opinion. Anyhow, still also coming on the show later on, we'll have our 580 Sports Talk headlines. Friend of the program, Shahan Jayaraja, ranked the Big 12 football coaches, power ranked the coaches at CBSSports.com. We'll get into that later as well. Still want to hear from you as we go. Text line is open, 785-272-9429. It's 785-272-9429. You can also jump in with comments, questions, concern, or general chatter in the YouTube chat. If you're watching on our YouTube channel, 580 Sports Talk, go subscribe to the YouTube channel if you have not already, by the way. Go subscribe, get that number up. At 800 subscribers, Brendan Dworzinski and I are going to arm wrestle live on camera. So look forward to that. Get us up to 800. And join us in the live chat for some general shenanigans and tomfoolery. And it's always a good time in the live chat where people ask the important questions, like Andrew, who asks, are fruit gushers considered a gummy candy? I would also put them as more gummy adjacent than actual gummy, but I enjoy those because they are softer to chew. It's really a sliding scale for me. The easier they are to chew, the more I like them. Like a harder gummy? No, absolutely not. Like the Swedish Fish or Dots. Dots, that was the gummy candy you couldn't have when you had braces.
Yeah.
That would ruin your orthodontia.
That's true.
Absolutely wreck your stuff. It's not that the flavor is bad. It's just it's not the always most pleasant eating experience.
See, you're a big gummy guy. I'm not a big gummy guy.
I
like the occasion. Like if I'm on a road trip, I will get gummies to eat on the road trip.
Mm-hmm.
But like I don't just sit around and throwing me a gummy bear in my mouth or Twizzler or whatever.
Somebody on the text line yesterday when we were talking about this late in the show, the text line lit up. It was nice to know you were all hanging out with us late in a short show. That was very cool. The text line lit up. Somebody asked us about the special gummies, and I've been advised not to comment. I just want that texter from the 785 to know I saw your text, and I've been advised not to comment.
Hey, CBD American Shaman used to be on the show.
Yes, they were a sponsor once. It is a special day in Royals history today. Did you know that?
I did not know.
Christopher's on top of it. Today is the day of the Pine Tar game. Today is 42 years since the Pine Tar incident. George Brett's home run that gave the Royals a 5-4 lead over the Yankees in the ninth inning. That was then overturned by home plate umpire Tim McClellan because Yankees manager Billy Martin contested that Brett had used an illegal bat because it had too much pine tar on it. Of course, the epilogue to that story is that the Royals protested the game. The protest was, in fact, I guess upheld would be the way that you would put it. Or the outcome of the game was then reversed, and the game was ordered to be resumed. Fun fact about the resumption of the game. This is the details that people maybe don't know, because everybody in the world, if they're even a little familiar with sports, has seen George Brett come flying out of the dugout like he wanted to kill Tim McClellan. And George Brett has often said, I'm glad my teammates got in the way because I really might have killed him. He's very glad that he was held back that day in the Bronx because he really may well have done some lasting damage to Tim McClellan. So when they resumed the game, George Brett was ejected, which is very funny. Dick Hauser, who was the manager of the Royals at the time, was also ejected from the resumption of the game. Royals coach Rocky Colavito, which I did not realize Colavito was a coach of the Royals, Hall of Fame player. He was ejected from the game for arguing. And Gaylord Perry, who was in his final year of the major leagues and a Hall of Fame career of his own for the Royals, was also ejected because he had tried to give the bat to a bat boy so that the bat boy would hide it and that the amount of pine tar could not be measured. That's like when they busted Albert Bell for having cork in his bat, and Jason Grimsley, who was his teammate at the time, later a Royal, crawled through the ductwork at Jacobs Field and stole the bat like MacGyver, but he didn't put an Albert Bell model bat in its place. He put a Paul Sorrento bat in there instead. And so the umpires knew something fishy had gone on, and they went and got Bell's bat because Bell didn't have any bats that weren't corked. That was kind of the problem there. So anyway, that's one funny part about the game being resumed. Billy Martin, notorious for, of course, his cuddly personality and serene demeanor. Billy Martin was so mad that they had to resume the game that he totally made a mockery of it. He put his best starting pitcher, Ron Guidry, in at center field, and he put his first baseman, left-handed Don Mattingly, at second base. So made a total mockery of it, and then instructed his pitcher, George Frazier, to appeal at every base whether or not George Brett had touched the base on his home run try. See, because the home run counted and now the Royals were leading. So Martin instructed George Frazier to appeal to every base. And the umpire had a notarized statement from the league office that verified that George Brett had indeed touched every base because they knew that Billy Martin was going to pull those shenanigans. It is a hysterical story, like top to bottom. It's not just, oh, they called him out, Brett threw a fit, the league overturned it, and the Royals won the replay. Like, all of the details of it are so funny. It is one of the all-time great baseball stories. I'm very glad that I got a chance to revisit that and maybe tell you and some of the listeners some things you didn't know about the Pine Tar game, 42 years old today. Let's talk about the current Kansas City Royals, who have not done much to clarify what they 100% absolutely have to do at the trade deadline in their first 6 games out of the All-Star break. But as I was talking about earlier, a bunch of other teams definitely did. Minnesota's out. Arizona's going to sell. Atlanta's going to sell. St. Louis, they already jettisoned Eric Fetty. They're going to trade whoever's not nailed down. Meanwhile, the Red Sox have continued to play well. They won a wild one over the Phillies last night. So, unfortunately, the Royals remain 4.5 games out of a playoff spot going into today's action. The Phillies led that game 5-0, coughed it up, tied the game in the 9th, tied it again in the 10th before Boston won it with 2 in the 11th. But obviously, Boston very much alive and looks like they're going to be trying to add to their roster. The Reds, all of a sudden, are only 2.5 games out of a playoff spot, 3 over 500, and there's been a lot of chatter about them looking to add to their roster. Some thoughts that they might reunite with their former third baseman, Eugenio Suarez, who's on the aforementioned Arizona team that is looking to sell. So more teams falling into that seller's camp than buyer's camp, which would maybe mean that it would behoove a team looking to buy be more of a motivated buyer's market. There were quotes yesterday after the Royals beat the Cubs 8-4. Seth Lugo made the start. We mentioned that could very well have been Seth Lugo's final start as a Kansas City Royal. Lugo told the media after the game yesterday, quote, "This is our team and I'm part of it. I want to be here through thick and thin. It's a good clubhouse. It's a good team. We just got to be more consistent and keep playing like we can and we'll be all right." That's boilerplate stuff you'd expect to hear. Vinny Pasquantino also quoted in that same piece from The Athletic, "I'd really like to see him with a Royals jersey on for his next start. We're trying to make that happen. That's up to us." I will continue to maintain that a trade of Seth Lugo is probably the thing to do for the Royals, who, despite having taken 2 out of 3 from the Cubs and improved their place in the standings over the last 3 days, remain with just 6.7% chance to make the postseason, according to Baseball References odds. And if you want to be optimistic, you'd say, hey, that's more than double where it was going into the Cubs series. They've really improved their lot. That's true, but 6.7% is still 6.7%. Again, the playoff odds over at Fangraphs a little bit more forgiving. The Royals stand with a 10.8% chance to make the playoffs over there. You're still talking about a 10% shot, 1 in 10 shot, one at best, to make the postseason. 1 in 10, 1 in 9 shot to make the postseason. And those are odds that are not terribly beneficial, and certainly they're the kind of odds that mean there shouldn't be a move that the Royals make. Like, this is not the kind of situation where you go do the Johnny Cueto and Ben Zobrist trades that the Royals did in 2015, where you were obviously on the cusp of being a World Series champion caliber team, and you needed some guys to push you over the top and go get a ring, and you weren't so concerned about whether or not they were going to be on the roster in 2016. You were looking to win and strike while the iron was hot, and Dayton Moore did, and it worked. Worked a treat. The Royals don't win that championship without Cueto and Zobrist. This is not the kind of position from where you collect what you have in what is still a relatively meager farm system and decide you're going to go all in with some rentals, with some guys you might only have for 2 months, and then end up with nothing to show for it. If the Royals are going to make any kind of move, I don't care what the move is, they need to make a move for a player who's going to be on the big league roster in 2026 and beyond, in my opinion. That's why this was an interesting note from Ken Rosenthal, and we didn't really get to this on yesterday's show. We were a little, obviously, tight for time. We had a shorter show yesterday. But Ken Rosenthal, talking about Seth Lugo's attractiveness as a trade piece, has mentioned the Red Sox as a possible fit. Red Sox really need starting pitching. And Rosenthal wrote, the athleticism of Boston Red Sox left fielder Jarren Duran makes him attractive to the Royals, as do his 3 additional years of club control. The Red Sox would not trade Duran for a pitcher who would likely amount to a rental, but the Royals could sweeten the deal with prospects, and teams are targeting their young catching in particular. So the suggestion there is Lugo plus for Duran could be a move that the Royals make where they accomplish, I think, what are reasonable goals for this deadline. In return for a player who is more not likely than likely to be on their 2026 roster and move, while still leaving the door open to maybe re-sign him should he hit free agency. And not only do you get something for that player, you get a player who is a big leaguer at a position of need, which is to say, plays the outfield and can hit. Rosenthal goes on to mention we had talked about the Brian Reynolds rumors. I think Rosenthal actually had that rumor a couple of weeks ago himself. Says that doesn't appear to be a match because the Pirates are looking to add offense. Really? They're looking to add offense? They're looking to add anything? Aren't they broke? Aren't they cheap? They're not going to add. Give me a break. Rosenthal finishes by noting the Royals will likely pursue pitching help, both starting and relief, if they end up buying. I'm not a big Jarren Duran fan as a player. I don't think he's a defensive upgrade, first and foremost. He is certainly better offensively than what the Royals have on hand, and it's not particularly close. In fact, last year, he was outstanding offensively. Last year, he led the American League. He led all the baseball, in fact, in doubles and triples. And he leads the American League in triples again this year. But the OPS is down about 90 points this year. And given the fact that he's in his age 28 season, I think it's reasonable to look at 2023 and 2024 when he had OPSs over 800 and wonder if those might not be career years. And what you're getting from Duran moving forward is going to be an above average hitter, but not a star offensive player, somebody who's going to lose value defensively because he's not a great defender. There's a reason he's not playing center field anymore. He came up a center fielder and made a hash of that position. And I'll be frank, the fact that last year he was caught on a hot mic referring to a fan by using a homophobic slur doesn't really sit right with me. I can't say that's the kind of thing I really enjoy hearing about a player on a team doing. I don't think that paints him in the greatest light. But would he be an upgrade offensively on John Rave? Yes. Yes, he would. Would he be an upgrade on Drew Waters? Absolutely. Would he be an upgrade on what the Royals have been running out there at left field for the better part of this season? Yes, 100%. He would. And 3 years of team control would give the Royals an opportunity to have him for a relative bargain, given the fact that it would be the arbitration system. And he might even be in line for not as much of an arbitration raise as anticipated, because he has taken a step back offensively this year. Even though exit velocities are still the same, really his big problem this year, and stop me if you've heard this one when we were talking about the Royals earlier this season, his big problem this year, too many pop-ups.
Yeah,
trying to sell
heard
out.
that before.
Yep, trying to sell out for power this year. 21 home runs last year. This year he's only got 9. His slugging percentage is down over 60 points. So maybe trying to do too much hitting for power, and maybe that's been a negative for his offensive game. Maybe he changes that approach going to Kauffman Stadium. Maybe that gets him back into a more line drive, gap-to-gap approach that benefits him. I don't know. I don't love the player.
I would say if you do that, if you add a guy with team control like that, and you're looking at team control across the board, it looks pretty good, right? Like,
right.
If you look at all positions, left field, right field, how much Miguel Garcia has some decent,
plenty of team control. Yeah.
And then you got Bobby Witt, and you got your first base. You got whatever you want to do at catcher. You have those prospects coming up eventually. I mean, even barring you trade one of them, you still have another prospect or two. So, and then you got the back end of the bullpen. You got years of control with those guys. I think that would be a huge benefit to the roster when it comes to looking at this year and beyond.
Team control means a lot to teams in the Royals' financial situation, by which I mean to say not like they are
not major market
broke,
teams.
but not a big market ball club. Exactly. So I think a move like that, like I'm not enamored with Duran as a player. I don't think he's a perfect fit, but he is an upgrade. And no doubt about it. It's a little bit how I felt about Jonathan India, honestly. I think Duran's a better offensive player than India is. But it's a little bit how I felt about the India deal. Like, okay, yeah, it's an upgrade, but is it a great fit? Like, where's he going to play? He's not a very good defensive player. I didn't love the fit. It made sense because of the upgrade that it was. And like I said, I feel about the same way about Duran. But that's the kind of deal I think in the end, to sum up here, if the Royals are going to trade Seth Lugo, they should be looking to get somebody back like a Jarren Duran in the sense that they are going to be on the team and represent an upgrade in a position of offensive need for the Royals. If the Royals can do that, then you've threaded the needle. You've traded a player who is in demand and helps you make your ball club better for the future, which that's the idea, right? If you're making a trade, if you are trading an established major leaguer at the trade deadline, you are doing it with the eye on making your team better, giving your team a better chance to contend in 2026 and beyond. But when it's a starting pitcher, you've got a chance to maybe cover those 10, 12 starts, however many starts there would be in August and September. You got a chance to cover those and maybe not miss too much of a beat. It's not like you got to cover like 200 at bats of one of your best offensive players. A little more impact an everyday player makes than a starting pitcher who goes every 5 days. But you've got a chance, I think, to essentially cancel out the value that is brought to the 2025 roster if you add a positive offensive contributor, if you add enough of an upgrade offensively. So that's the kind of deal the Royals should be looking at making. I don't know that there are a lot of great fits out there. Mention the Boston idea. I know the Cubs have been really interested in Lugo. They've got a couple of guys at AAA that are blocked from the major leagues, but I don't love Owen Cassie or Kevin Alcantara as prospects. And Moises Ballesteros is another catcher where the Royals already have a logjam. So I don't know that there's a great fit there for a guy who's going to immediately help your offense. That's the kind of move that if J.J. Piccolo can find one and make it, I will tip my cap, because that is how you thread the needle. We'll take a timeout here on 580 Sports Talk. On the other side of this break, it's What Is Wrong With You time, and you might want to get to our YouTube channel, 580 Sports Talk, for this one, because we got the visual of the year on What Is Wrong With You coming up on 580 WIBW. So what is wrong with you time on 580 Sports Talk, and it's brought to you by our buddy Mo, State Farm Agent Ryan. Mo Winkle, give him a call, 785-273-1572. Our current weekly champion, forgot how much I loved this story yesterday. Insurance turf wars. This guy didn't like that a rival insurance company had opened up an office space in the same shopping center as his sister's insurance agency. So he reacted like any big brother would and threw Molotov cocktails at the rival office.
Wow.
While using a car that was easily traceable back to him. It's such an overreaction. I can't believe how funny
Did you see our pal Vance in the YouTube comments yesterday?
I'm sure I did, but I don't remember.
So after the story he put in there, so he has an insurance company. He said, that's like, and there's been a rival insurance company nearby. And he said something along the lines of, that would be like the last thing on my mind.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah. So let's get to.
I don't think any normal person would do that.
Get to the two news stories today. I'll start, and then we'll get to your story where we have the visual of the year. You check us out on YouTube, 580 Sports Talk. Oh no, I'm just seeing
the 1:22 p.m. Pacific update.
No, I'm just seeing the. I'm just seeing the. There's a picture, some Ring camera footage of this gentleman. The headline is naked man breaks into home and then jumps into pond. And we have some Ring camera footage of the man in the buff. And that's a very small blurred circle is all I'm going to tell you. But then again, he was in the pond, maybe for a while. This happened in Oklahoma City around 6 p.m. A naked guy broke into a house. And once the family confronted the naked man, he left out their back door, skipped to the pond, and jumped in. Police say he was there for about an hour before they were able to get him out. Blake Overstreet is the homeowner and one of the funniest people we've ever quoted on What Is Wrong With You. Him waiting around like very much hippopotamus-like. It was very strange, Overstreet said. He said his man was like a hippo. Damn. Overstreet said it was unlike anything he'd ever seen before. I was ready to see my son and my mom coming home from martial arts class. I thought that was them knocking on the front door. But the time I opened the front door to let them in, the back door was being opened by this big, fat, naked, crazy guy. He was described as being 6'2" and over 400 pounds. So Overstreet and his wife got a gun. This is America. Pointed at the man, told him to get out. Overstreet said, quote, anytime a big, gigantic, naked man comes into your house unwanted, the de-escalation is, I guess you could say, pretty quick. So then the guy walked down to the neighborhood pond and hung out there for an hour until police coaxed him out. Overstreet puts the capper on this story. Stay aware that every place in 2025, you got some crazies. There's a little crazy in the air nowadays, you know. Officers took the man into custody. They could tell he was under the influence. Gentleman was identified as Corey Cisco. So, yes, that's who we have. We have a hippopotamus-like gentleman with no clothes on hanging out in the neighborhood pond. All right, your story today. I am going to go ahead and put the graphic on our YouTube channel, 580 Sports Talk. It is my favorite visual of the year. Go ahead and intro the story.
All right, well, I'm going to give you the basics, and then I'm going to give you the update that we just got a little bit ago.
Okay.
After more stuff came out from the police. Basically, a Chuck E. Cheese mascot guy had to cough up some serious dough to bail himself out of the jail after he was arrested.
No, not a Chuck E. Cheese guy. Chuck E. Cheese.
Well, an employee at Chuck E. Cheese that was wearing the Chuck E. Cheese costume.
Charles Entertainment Cheese himself. We have the photo proof.
Yes. When the costume head was removed, the identity of the guy was revealed. Jermel J. Jones, who was arrested for theft of a credit card. It's unclear, but it appears Tallahassee police knew the identity of the man inside the mouse and knew where he worked because they promptly arrived on scene, removed the fake mouse from the joint right in the middle of a children's birthday party in progress. Apparently, this wasn't Jones' first credit card stealing. He allegedly did the same thing at least once before in the last 6 months. He's charged with the theft of a credit card, criminal use of personal identification info, and fraudulent use of a credit card more than twice in 6 months. Within 6 months, he was booked and released Thursday on $1,000 bond. Then we get this updated information that TMZ had obtained an arrest report. The Tallahassee police say the man in the Chuck E. Cheese costume also had a small amount of marijuana on him.
I bet he did.
Cops say they asked if he had a medical marijuana license and were told, I was on the way to get one.
Probably with the fraudulent credit card.
Yes. Police also say he racked up $105.57 in fraudulent charges on a debit card. A woman lost after attending her child's birthday party at the Chuck E. Cheese.
Chucky, why?
So he was walking around and he was like, oh, she dropped her credit card. Don't mind me.
The picture is up on our YouTube. My favorite part, the horrified children in the background. He had like 3 kids and a parent back there watching Charles Entertainment Cheese. Did you know that that's what the E stood for in Chuck E. Cheese? Yes. His full name is Charles Entertainment Cheese.
I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah. Or, yeah. Charles Entertainment Cheese getting hauled off to jail.
Yeah.
Where a kid can be a kid, huh? A kid can have their innocence destroyed watching. And let him go in the back and take the stuff off. You know? Like,
yeah, don't
just
perp walk him like that with all the kids thinking Chuck E. Cheese is a villain.
Chucky, can you come with me, please? We're gonna haul you off, but for the sake of the children having a birthday party, we'd like to do this in secret if we could. Nah, man, they dragged him out wearing the rat head. Unbelievable. I cannot believe how funny this picture is. And the facial expression of the police officer, I think he knows he's being photographed, and I think he knows, well, this is going to be all over the internet. That's what that face is. That's the face of somebody who knows the entire internet is going to see him arrest the giant mouse.
Yep.
So
on a Chuck E. Cheese related note, did you know that Chuck E. Cheese in select cities, including Kansas City, have adult arcades?
Yeah, I have heard that.
That's pretty cool.
I like,
but they don't have a Chuck E. Cheese guy getting arrested for credit card fraud.
Paul, the YouTube comments. Who are you working with? I'm no rat. Andrew, think about when he goes to get his items in jail. Yeah, one mouse head. Yeah, I got a purple and green shirt, one giant rat head.
Yep.
Charles E. Cheese. I like my story a lot. This visual's too good not to win today.
Yeah. I think it beats yesterday's story too because the visual.
See, that's the thing though. Is it too reliant on the visual? Is this story? I mean, it's just.
I don't think so. I mean, I still think
credit card fraud. We got a million credit card fraud stories.
But you don't have to have the visual though. Just the fact that he is a Chuck E. Cheese worker and he stole a mother's credit card during a party.
Yeah, found a debit card after a birthday party and thought, what do you think Chuck E. Cheese goes to buy with a stolen credit card?
Yeah, I don't know. I wonder what he bought for $105.57.
Man, it's hard because I love the insurance turf war story. I love that story. They perp walked him in the mouse head.
Yeah.
I can't decide. We're going to take them both into tomorrow. I can't decide. We're taking.
Is that a 580 Sports Talk history being made?
I am going to call it a draw, and then we're going to let the listeners vote at the end of the week. I can't decide. I need a day more to sit with this one.
We might have to ask our pal Brendan too.
We might. We'll get Brendan's take on that. But yeah, we're gonna take. What did we call him? Oh man, I saw something really funny that somebody called him on social media, and I got to see if I can find Charles Embezzlement Cheese. That's what they called him. So we had Charles Embezzlement Cheese, and we've got we've got Insurance Turf Wars, and they're both moving to tomorrow because I can't pick one on 580 Sports Talk. What is wrong with you? Sponsored by State Farm agent Ryan Mo Winkle. We will step aside for a break. When we come back, we'll hear from Creed Humphrey from Chiefs Camp earlier today on 580 Sports Talk. 4:45 on 580 Sports Talk. We do have a first. I don't think we've ever just taken a tie into the next day on what is wrong with you. I just look. I would sit here, honest to God, for the next 15 minutes until the top of the hour, debating back and forth, and we don't have time for that. We got to move on to other things. But I can't remember a harder single day what is wrong with you decision than this one between Charles Embezzlement Cheese and the Insurance Turf Wars.
I think whoever wins this.
Let's just take it to the people. We've done that before. Let's do that. We're gonna play Creed Humphrey, his audio from earlier today in St. Joe. While you're listening to Creed, think about it. Take a second and submit your votes on the text line 785-272-9429 or in the YouTube comments. I just hate to lose either of these stories, But hey, that's part of the game, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes a good team gets beat in the first round, man. Sometimes that's how it goes.
If only this story popped tomorrow afternoon after we had already picked stories for tomorrow.
785-272-9429 on the text line or vote in the YouTube comments if you are watching on YouTube, 580 Sports Talk. Charles Embezzlement Cheese or the Insurance Turf Wars. Pick a winner while you listen to Creed Humphrey from Chiefs camp. Had a chance to hear from the Chiefs starting center earlier today.
For Trey Smith to sign that long-term deal, what's that mean that he'll be next to you for several years now here in Kansas City?
Yeah, super pumped. I mean, he deserves every penny of it. He's a great player, obviously, but just being able to have that chemistry built with him, just seeing how he works, how he leads, it's a huge deal for the room. So, really excited to have him.
What are the challenges working with two new tackles?
Yeah, just I think just getting the chemistry down with the offensive line. So that's why camp's really good for this. You get a ton of reps in, ton of looks against Spags defense. So it's preparing you all for the season. So we're excited about it. We got some really good talent in that room right now, and it's going to breed a really good competition.
Stu Mati is making that transition to guard. He's competing for that spot next to you. What have you seen from him, and how's that building chemistry with him in a new spot?
Yeah, he's been doing awesome. He's a great player, extremely talented, obviously, and he works really hard. So it's been really good to see how he's been working and how he's taken on the new role and has adapted to it, learning a new position and everything. And he's done a really good job with it. Physical player, talented player, athletic as well, and he's picking up the playbook really well. So we're excited about him.
We had a couple of the diversity fellowships in with Juan Castillo and Cam Irvin. What's been the experience of working with both of those?
It's been awesome. Cam played here, so he knows the system really well. He's been, in a few different spots in the league, so he has a ton of knowledge. And he's awesome to work with. Connects really well with the players too, and he's a mentor that you can look up to because he's been in the shoes before. He knows the experience, he knows everything about it. So he's been a really good asset so far. And then obviously Juan Castillo, a highly respected guy in the offensive line community. Everybody knows him, so he's someone that's has a wealth of knowledge, just really smart, understands technique really well, and he loves working with guys. He's been having a lot of fun being able to teach techniques and hang out with the guys and just kind of share his wisdom. So it's been really good to have both of them.
Creed, what was it like playing on that? First All-Pro selection this past season. You were named to the NFL Top 100 Players list earlier this year. How much does that mean to you to know that your work is actually paying off and you're getting these accolades and becoming one of the best centers in the league?
Yeah, it's obviously a blessing, to get those accolades and stuff. But for me, it's focusing about what you can improve. You can never stop improving. You can never reach the top. You're always going to keep improving. You can keep learning all those things. So for me, it's a great feeling getting the recognition and everything. But for me, I know there's stuff I need to work on. So I'm hungry. I'm hungry to come out here and grind, get stuff going in training camp. So it's been fun. I'm so hungry I could eat Matt McMullen. But it's been a lot of fun. It's been a lot of fun getting out here and working and grinding. Huh? Yeah. Yes.
People are having the Super Bowl, and every time I watch this NFL Network this summer, that's all I saw. What drives this offensive line? I mean, what do you guys think about going into the season?
Yeah, for us, we learn from it, and we're moving past it. We have a lot of stuff to work on, and we know that. And for us, it's improving every single day. So you learn what you can, and then you move on, and you're ready to get that feeling off you. So we're looking forward to getting in here, working, training, going against the great D-line that we have, and just improving and ready to show it week 1.
4 more. Let's start over there.
Obviously, Josh coming out of Ohio State, he's had a lot of experience, especially in the national championship. What is your main takeaways
Main takeaways from him?
Yeah, what impact you can make.
Yeah. No, obviously extremely talented. You can see it on the field. Moves really well, very athletic and very strong. I mean, he's got his first punch is insane. You know, he's got a ton of stuff that, you know, just a lot of people don't naturally have. So with him, it's been awesome to see that stuff, and he's been working it really well. But another thing with him is that, you know, he has that drive. You know, it's been really good to see him working, doing extra stuff after practices, you know, focusing more in the meeting rooms, you know, taking what he can, studying on his own. It's been really good to see, and you know, you can tell he's very mature and professional about how he goes about business, and it's been awesome to have him.
Reid, I'm going to ask you the same question I asked Trey Smith the other day. This is your first time since your rookie year you won't have Joe Tooney on your left. What do you think you'll miss the most not having his presence in that locker room?
Yeah, I mean, first and foremost, he was a talented player. Obviously, you know, he's all pros, all that stuff. You know, he's one of the best guards in the league. So, you know, you're going to miss that, but also just the camaraderie. You know, he was a great teammate, great mentor. Always kept, you know, the room with good morale, always cracking jokes, being funny, but doing it in the right time and leading the right way. So he set a good example for me and Trey to follow these past 4 years, and we've learned a ton from him. So, you know, I'm extremely thankful for the time I had with Joe. He was an awesome teammate and a great leader.
Nick,
how much you're looking forward to seeing Travis and Happy Gilmore too?
Yeah, I don't really know how big his role is or what he's doing in it, so I'm excited to see it though. Happy Gilmore is an awesome movie, so I can't wait for the sequel.
Reid, you touched on this, but just when Josh Simmons when he was drafted, a lot of people were talking about his health. What's the progress that you've seen for him to get to training camp? Got to be healthy.
Yeah, well, you could tell all OTAs, you know, it was something that he wanted. He was working nonstop on it, you know, making sure he was getting healthy as quick as he could. So that was awesome to see, and he's moving really well, playing really well right now. He seems to be fully healthy, and he's getting after it. So it's been a lot of fun to see.
last two.
So who challenged you to say that you were so hungry you could eat that? What's the story here?
I don't want to get into it. I don't know. We can talk about it another time.
Yeah, Reid, with it on the horizon, what's that first day of pads like when you can finally get somebody?
Yeah, it's exciting. You know, we've been doing all these practices, all OTAs, everything, you know, non-padded. So it's hard to get, you know, a real look of what guys can do in the run game, what they can do full speed. So it's exciting, you know, just getting out there, putting the pads on, getting that first 9-on-7 period going. You get to see what guys are made of. You know, you have a general idea right now, but you can't really tell until the pads come on. So I'm excited to see, you know, the guys compete, get after it, see the physicality, and grow from there.
That was Creed Humphrey from Chiefs camp earlier today. We're going to step aside for a break. Get your votes in before it's too late. 785-272-9429 in the YouTube chat. Charles Embezzlement Cheese or the Insurance Turf Wars? Who should win What Is Wrong With You for today? We'll come back and wrap up the 4 o'clock hour next. It's unanimous on both the text line and the YouTube comments. Charles Embezzlement Cheese is our daily winner on What Is Wrong With You. My heart breaks for Insurance Turf Wars. I thought that one had a chance to go all the way. Like, not even in the month. I thought that was ludicrous enough to really make a push in the Tournament of Champions. Instead, it won't even make it to the end of July when we pick a winner for July next week. That's the way the game goes.
Yeah.
That's the way the game goes. It is Jack Cochran days until Chiefs kickoff. We're 43 days away from the Chiefs and the Chargers opening the 2025 season in Brazil, September 5th. Jack Cochran wears number 43. He's a core special teamer, entering his 4th year with the Chiefs. We have had a lot of players in the 40s, with numbers in the 40s, for whom there's just not a whole lot to say about. And it got me to wondering if the jersey numbers in the 40s are like collectively the least valuable players in the franchise's history. And I guess it depends. Like, you can think of like John Lynch or Daryl Johnston, like some guys in the 40s. But like, historically speaking, I went back and looked at the Chiefs. Johnny Robinson, who's a Hall of Famer, original Dallas Texan, played 2 years at halfback, moved to free safety, and then was like the best in the league for half a decade, 6 straight All-Pros. He wore number 42. After that, the best ever Chiefs to wear the number 40 are James Hasty, Jim Carney. Hasty wore 40. Carney was a linebacker. He wore 46. And then probably Tony Richardson and Dan Sorensen wearing number 49. Not a great history of Chiefs wearing numbers in the 40.
I feel like it's either like tight ends, linebackers.
Yeah, it's a lot of tight ends, linebackers, and long snappers like James Winchester. Coming up at the 5 o'clock hour, we'll rate the Big 12 coaches. We'll start with headlines, 580 Sports Talk. Let's get it. 580 Sports Talk. Final hour of this Thursday edition here on the Sports Voice of Kansas, 580 WIBW, FM 104.9, online at 580WIBW.com, and live on our YouTube channel, 580 Sports Talk, and our Facebook page, WIBW News. However you're tuning into the program today, if you're catching us live, if you're catching the archive, the podcast on our YouTube channel, or on our Spotify, 580 Sports Talk, or on our website, 580WIBW.com. Appreciate you being part of the audience. We know there are a lot of entertainment options out there. We appreciate you choosing us here on 580 Sports Talk. I'm Dan Lucero. Spencer Dupuis is here. Brendan Dworzinski is off today. One more hour of the program. We're going to play a little either or over under here in a little bit. We're also going to talk about friend of the program, Shahan Jayaraja's Big 12 coach power rankings, I guess you would call them, as Shahan has ranked the Big 12 coaches 1 through 16 through or for the upcoming 2025 season. And I have some bones to pick with this list. I got actually a lot to contest with this list. The more I scroll down it, the more I think, really? I don't know. But I agree with the bottom more than I agree with the top. Let me put it that way. And then I think there's a pretty big chasm between the coaches I think are really good and the coaches that I think are they still good? I guess that's the question. Are they still good? Not like are they accomplished, but like, are they still good at this? Or were they ever good at this, or did they just have their kid playing quarterback? Like, I have questions. I have questions. And love Shahan, and I know he spent a lot of time and considered these very carefully. And it's grist for the mill. We're officially now under a month away from kickoff for K-State and KU in the college football season. But I did want to talk about it. I think there was some meat on this bone. So we're going to talk about that later on. Shahan's list is at cbssports.com if you want to check it out and follow along. We've also, of course, got our 580 Sports Talk headlines. Get at us in the YouTube chat. If you are watching on our YouTube channel, 580 Sports Talk, there's a live chat feature that you can utilize to interact with us and your fellow listeners throughout the show. Appreciate everybody who is in the chat today. It's been a lively chat as per usual. You can also text the program. The text line 785-272-9429. That is 785-272-9429. We have our 580 Sports Talk headlines today. And typically, if a story from the sports world is also leading the CBS News at the top of the hour, we lead with it. Your definition of whether or not this meets the criteria of a sports story may differ, but it's also the lead headline on ESPN.com. So let's start here. Hulk Hogan is dead. The most famous professional wrestler of them all. I think that is the best way to describe him off top. Died at the age of 71, apparently due to a cardiac event. I was born in 1986. That was the year of WrestleMania 2. WrestleMania 3 is, of course, the famous WrestleMania where Hulk Hogan body slammed Andre the Giant. In the 1980s, there were few cultural figures that held as much cachet as Hulk Hogan. In the 1990s, there was a revival in WCW. He turned heel famously and joined the NWO faction. That would have been right around my peak awareness of Hulk Hogan and professional wrestling, naturally being a 10-year-old boy, preteen, early teenage boy. Did you ever have the pro wrestling phase? I'm sure we've talked about this, Spencer. Did you ever have the pro wrestling phase? Get really into WWE, WCW, anything like that?
No,
you wouldn't even know what WCW was. That was.
I mean, I've heard of it.
Yeah, that was that. They were gone before you were born, man.
Yeah, never really was a fan.
So yeah, like I got really into it. Like it was something I liked the video games. It was something fun to like watch with my brother and pretend to do the moves and stuff.
I always knew it was fake, so that's probably why I didn't like it.
Still real to me, damn it. No, like, yeah, there's a suspension of disbelief. The term over the years became sports entertainment, right?
Yeah.
And that's what it is. I've often said it's like it's like dude sports opera or soap opera for dudes with there's an undeniably athletic element to it, but it is not, of course, true athletic competition in that way. But I say that to say I sort of missed the boat on like the Hulk Hogan phenomenon. If I'd been born 10 years earlier and I'd been a 10-year-old boy in 1986, I think a lot of young people, particularly young boys in the 1980s, Hulk Hogan was probably something like a hero, something like an idol. I do not dispute that the character of Hulk Hogan for many, many years meant a lot to a lot of people and occupied a certain place in the cultural zeitgeist that very few ever get to. I think to this day, if you ask the average person, pro wrestler, Hulk Hogan is one of the 3 names you're going to hear. More likely. You might hear The Rock, certainly, because his fame has, much like Hulk Hogan's did, expanded beyond the wrestling ring. You might, I don't know. I don't know that anybody else has ever been as big as those two in particular.
I mean, I feel like when I was growing up, it was John Cena.
John Cena's a pretty big deal. I don't think he's a Hulk Hogan big deal, but I think that's more about what professional wrestling is in the cultural zeitgeist today relative to what it was in the 1980s.
Like if I was listing people that I've heard of, it would be Hulk Hogan, The Rock,
and John Cena maybe third.
John Cena,
That's
Stone
fair.
Cold Steve Austin.
Yeah.
That's
He'd be
the
on the
Undertaker.
Sure.
And that's my knowledge of any of that.
But Hulk Hogan hadn't wrestled actively since 2012, and he was still like that well known. Like that name itself is almost a catch-all for a championship wrestler, a big deal wrestler. So I want to acknowledge that the character of Hulk Hogan meant a lot to a lot of people. The person behind the character, Terry Bollea.
I did not know that was his real name.
Yeah, that's his real name. There is not a lot of good to say about Terry Bollea, from snitching on Jesse Ventura to Vince McMahon and squashing the formation of a wrestlers union in the 1980s, to almost certainly perjuring himself on the stand in the Vince McMahon steroid trial in the 1980s, to being filmed on camera saying, quote, "I'm a racist." That got him fired from the WWE in 2015. They decided at that point they didn't want anything more to do with Hulk Hogan. When that particular video and the same video use of a certain racial slur came to light, WWE washed its hands of Hulk Hogan in 2015. Of course, they were more than happy to bring him out, dust the cobwebs off when it suited them. But I think the most telling thing, the thing I can tell you that I think sums it up, is that back in the 1980s, what you knew of professional wrestling was what was on the screen. You knew, unless you were a real, like, diehard, I don't need to get into, like, kayfabe and what's real, what's a work, what's a shoot, and work yourself into a shoot, brother, and all that stuff. I don't need to go there. But Hulk Hogan made his final television appearance at a WWE event. I think it was earlier this year. It was the first Raw on Netflix. Monday Night Raw is now on Netflix. And the first episode of WWE Raw on Netflix was at the Intuit Dome in LA.
On January 6th of 2025.
And Hulk Hogan came out. They brought him out. And this was not like this was real American playing, the iconic yellow and red shirt, Jimmy Hart, his longtime manager, out with the American flag. This was like babyface icon Hulk Hogan. That building booed the hell out of that man. What's the saying from that one Batman movie? You die a hero or you see yourself live long enough to become the villain.
Yeah.
Hulk Hogan as Terry Bollea lived long enough to become the villain because of the kind of person, unfortunately, that he was away from the ring, away from the persona that, again, was influential, inspirational, undeniably so for millions of Americans in the 1980s, particularly millions of young Americans. I don't intend to diminish that, but Terry Bollea, the person, he did enough to diminish that himself with the kind of person that he was away from the ring. So there it is, Hulk Hogan. Sometimes people like to say, well, his legacy is complicated. No, that just means that the person did some bad things, and you don't want to reckon with the bad things they did. Like you don't want to revisit the bad things that they did. You're trying to be nice when sometimes niceness is not warranted. Yeah. And so I will not say that Hulk Hogan had a complicated legacy. I will say that Hulk Hogan, the television character, was extremely influential, and that the person behind it is not a very nice man. And that is where we will leave it. Hulk Hogan dead today at 71.
He also tried to use his son, his famousness, to get his son out of a DUI.
Yes, he did.
On body cam.
Yeah, no, he did that. He definitely did that. Go ahead with your first headline.
All right, let's get back here on the headlines. We are going to hit the Big 12 headline here as Nyjah Kennedy and Travis Hunter have been named the 2024-2025 Big 12 Athletes of the Year. Obviously, Nyjah Kennedy, the Topeka Zone and Topeka High alum, along with Colorado now alum or former Colorado football player and Jacksonville Jaguar Travis Hunter. They are the Athletes of the Year in the Big 12. Basically, their performances this year in the Big 12 were the best of the year.
I don't think there is much to dispute.
No.
With these award winners. You have the best softball player in America, and you have the Heisman Trophy winner.
Yeah.
Now, all due respect, each school nominated a male and female athlete, and a 16-person media panel chose the award winners. Kansas's nominees, for the record, were Devin Neal and another former Topeka High School standout from Seaman High School, Cameron Turner. K-State's nominees were Brendan Mott and Carla Bernat, the outstanding golfer who won the Augusta National Women's Amateur earlier this year. But hard to beat the Heisman winner and the softball All-American. And very well deserved for both Nyjah Kennedy and for Travis Hunter. Next headline for me. There is one NFL team that opens their books, and it's the Green Bay Packers because they're publicly owned. One of their owners is occasionally on our radio program, Brendan Brzezinski. He's off today. But the Packers always have their books open. So how you learn about how well the rest of the league is doing, what kind of revenue the NFL is bringing in, you can always tell from the annual report that the Packers give to their investors. The Packers revealed yesterday that their national revenue sharing from the previous fiscal year was $432.6 million. To give you an idea, last year, National League revenue topped $400 million per team for the first time ever. And then it went up $30 million this past season.
Everybody loves football.
You do the math on that. Every team gets the same slice of that pie, right? This is the national revenue pie. So every team gets the same slice. You multiply that number by 32, it means the league shared more than $13 billion in revenue from the previous fiscal year. The NFL made $13 billion with a B dollars in revenue. Remember when nobody's going to watch the NFL anymore?
Yeah.
Yeah. Remember that? People say, I'm not watching the NFL anymore. Yeah. People, I think, are still watching the National Football League.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's doing all right. I think it's doing pretty well for itself. I mean, I guess that's the extent of the headline. The NFL made a lot of money, but I think it's always fascinating. And I wish, we had a little bit more transparency. Certainly, I think in other sports like baseball, I really think we need transparency when it comes to what are the league revenues, what are your local revenues.
Oh, yeah.
Because teams in baseball, the owners in baseball are crying poor all the time. Well, you don't hear any NFL teams do that. There are certainly some owners, some ownership groups that have deeper pockets than others, but it's a salary cap sport, so nobody complains about an unequal playing field. But also, it's hard to cry poor when you know that you are making $432.6 million just on national revenue sharing. That's not even your local stuff. That's not even your own jersey sales, ticket sales, your own licensing. That is the national revenue sharing. And the league pulled in $13 billion worth of it.
Oh, yeah.
It's a financial leviathan and remains so. Next headline, Spencer.
Yes, this came out this morning early, probably around like 10 a.m. Central, 11 a.m. Eastern. It was causing a lot of concern across the NFL after it was reported that Jets quarterback Justin Fields was carted off this morning after what looked to be a bad injury. Turns out it wasn't that bad, thankfully. It is a toe injury from being stepped on during practice. He suffered a dislocated toe, no fracture, not the big toe. He's still undergoing tests, but the initial diagnosis basically not as bad as it looked like it could have been this morning, but the severity is unclear.
You know, you're not really headed for a great season when you're holding your breath on Justin Fields' health status. That's the first joke I'll make here. Second of all, like, people need to understand, like, because the initial report was Justin Fields carted off practice field at Jets practice day. They take you off on the cart if you got to go take a dump.
Yeah.
Like, that's not a joke. They will take you off the field on the cart if you have a rumbly in your tumbly or if you bruise your elbow, because it's just easier to ride on the cart into the locker room. Like at Chiefs camp.
It's hot. Well, first of all, it's hot summer.
Yep. They don't want these guys exerting or wobbling.
And a lot of times these fields are pretty far away from a building.
Yes. Like, you see the walk. If you've seen any video from Chiefs camp, you know the walk those players have to make. Like, anytime I hear a Chiefs player, oh, he left the practice field on a cart. Yeah, he probably had to go to the bathroom or needed a little more hydration.
Yeah.
Like, everybody leaves on a cart now. So it could be bad.
Yeah.
But the odds are actually that it's really not.
But also, if like you need to get retaped or something, they're gonna take you on a cart.
Yes.
Guess what?
Yes.
It's about probably saves you about 5 to 8 minutes.
They're not going to make you limp around. And look, like, I'm not saying that there's not some pain with a dislocated toe. That sounds awful. But not as severe. Just keep that in mind. This is a public service announcement for everybody who follows the NFL. Don't freak out when you see a report of a player getting carted off the practice field at training camp. They probably just needed to go to the bathroom.
Yeah, another headline here quickly, an NFL injury update. First ACL tear of the training camp, I believe. The Dolphins cornerback Artie Burns will miss the entire 2025 season after tearing his ACL on the team's first day of training camp. Sources told Adam Schefter. They placed him on the IR Thursday. Didn't disclose the nature of his injury, and MRI confirmed the Dolphins medical staff feared that he had suffered a torn ACL. So he had signed a 1-year deal with them this offseason after spending the past 3 seasons with the Seahawks.
Yeah, that's too bad for Burns. And this is the time of year actually where players are at the most danger of getting hurt.
Yeah.
Because they're still just getting their bodies in tune with football action, football movement. There's not contact, but you're extending your body. Time, the heat plays a role, all of those things. You do unfortunately run into a lot of serious injuries early in camp, and teams are always hoping to avoid those. Unfortunately for Artie Burns and the Dolphins, that was not the case. Hey, one more headline today. We're going to the world of Little League Baseball. A 12-year-old Little League player who was suspended from the New Jersey State Final after celebrating a home run with a bat flip sued and won and has been cleared to play in his team's next game. Judge Robert ruled in favor of the delightfully named young man, Marco Rocco.
Wow, what a name.
Wonder if they might be Italian. Yeah. Marco Rocco was celebrating a home run in the top of the 6th inning in a July 16th game, and like his heroes do on MLB, threw his bat. He flipped his bat in the air, very high in the air, halfway down the first baseline. It's a pretty saucy bat flip. You know, one of those, like, if a major league player did it, they would put it on their top 50 bat flips of the year compilation on the MLB network. Rocco got ejected from the game for doing it by the umpire, and any ejection in Little League Baseball comes with a 1-game suspension. That would have kept him out of the championship game tonight between his team from Haddonfield, New Jersey, and Elmora. That prompted his family to take legal action. Mailstein, the judge in making the ruling, said, quote, I think the easy answer for the court is that there is immediate and irreparable harm that would befall this youth. He can't get this game back. It was a temporary restraining order filed by Rocco's father, Joe, in Gloucester County Chancery Division to try and reverse the suspension. A spokesperson for Little League International says that they will respect and uphold the judge's decision. Quote, while we continue to follow any orders governed by the court of law, Little League is extremely disappointed that time, energy, and attention were diverted away from our volunteers and communities who are creating positive experiences for all players and families throughout the international tournament. The family was told July 16th that Lil Marco's actions were unsportsmanlike and fell under the category of horseplay. Appendix B of the safety code for Little League states, quote, at no time should horseplay be permitted on the playing field. Little League has promoted videos of bat flips from its own games in the past on their social media accounts.
Yeah.
So, like, it's not broader Little League that had a problem with it. It was this one umpire had a problem with it.
Yeah, but also in a way, I wouldn't call it horseplay. If you're going to do that, it's like excessive celebration or something.
Right. And
like that's not horseplay. It's excessive celebration.
No.
If you're going to say that.
Yeah.
That's what the category it would fall.
Feels to me like an umpire who just didn't like it, who just
Yeah.
decided, I don't like it when these kids flip their bats. And look, I'm not here to tell anybody. I think that it's a kid, having fun and being excited that he hit a home run in a big moment in a big game. And I think you ought to get to be excited when you do that. And if you want to put your head down and run around the bases like Ted Williams used to, have at it.
Yeah.
And if you want to flip your bat like today's modern players do more often, then you should get to do that too. As long as you aren't hurting anybody. And I don't mean feelings. I mean physically hurting anybody. Then I think you ought to be able to celebrate or not celebrate however you want. Just as long as the pitcher gets to also celebrate if he strikes you out.
Exactly.
Like that's the way it goes. You dish it out, you have to be able to take it. That's a valuable life lesson to learn in the process of playing Little League. So what I think we had here was probably an overzealous umpire, and it would have been really a bummer for the kid to have had to miss the championship game. It is a regional, or it's a state championship game. Winner goes to regionals, and if you win the regional, then you get to go play in the Little League World Series, which is, again, that's not an opportunity. You're 12. This is the opportunity that you get to go try and make the Little League World Series. So I feel like this is justice for my guy Marco Rocco. I feel like it's a little ridiculous that kind of a waste of the court's time to have to rule on something like this. But I understand why his parents went to the length that they did.
Yeah.
And good luck to the kid. Good luck to their team. They play tonight. Good luck to him. Good luck to them. And hopefully they got a different umpiring crew, or at least one that's going to be like a little more understanding that this is a kid having fun. He's not hurting anybody. He's just having fun and just celebrating the way he sees his heroes celebrate. And again, I'm not here to scold anybody who has a problem with that. I'm not here to be real strident about if you're not a fan of the bat flipping that you see in Major League Baseball these days. I understand it's not for everybody. Some people, you're always going to have people that prefer the Ted Williams approach or the Barry Sanders approach. Hand the ball to the official after you score a touchdown. That's fine. But these are games, and games are supposed to be fun, and I think you let the kids have some fun. That's our 580 Sports Talk headlines for today. We'll take a timeout. When we come back, we'll do a little either or over-under coming up on 580 WIBW. 532 on 580 Sports Talk. Marco Rocco is such a sick baseball name, too. Like, I'm pulling for that kid, man. That's a really cool name. That great name. Fire name alert. Marco Rocco. I bet his grandmother has a meat sauce recipe that goes so crazy.
Yeah.
I know I'm leaning into Italian stereotypes here, but they're funny to lean into because they're mostly true. Like,
Yeah.
I've never known them not to be true. So, yeah, shout out Marco Rocco. Good luck to him. Either or over under today. Spencer, would you like to start us?
Yes. Trade deadline you mentioned earlier for the MLB is next Thursday at 5 p.m. Central, which different this year, I believe. They moved it back from 4 p.m. Eastern.
I think I might be right. You
to
might be
6
right
p.m.
on that.
Eastern. Royals here, we've heard a lot of rumblings, but only minor league trades have happened so far, pretty much. Except for Adam Frazier. But between now and the deadline, over under 1.5 trades to the major league team.
I think over. I think they are going to add a left-handed reliever. They need a left-handed reliever so bad. Sam Long's not cutting it.
Yeah.
I don't think Rich Hill is a long-term, long relief solution. If they were to demote him to the bullpen after Michael Lorenzen gets healthy, you're asking a lot of Angel Zerpa right now. I don't know if Daniel Lynch is going to be back. That elbow injury didn't sound real pleasant. They need a left-handed reliever bad. So I think they're going to go out and get a lefty. I'll say that. I think they are at the bare minimum going to acquire a left-handed reliever, preferably one with some team control.
Yeah.
Even if it's just a year of team control. Think the Hunter Harvey deal last year.
Yeah.
Something along those lines. I don't know who's out there. Like I'm sitting here and I haven't really dug in on the Rockies don't have a left-hand. I don't think they have any left-handed relievers. They might not have Ryan Rollison. That's their left-handed reliever. You don't want him. Nationals. How are the Nationals looking on the left side of their bullpen? They got anybody?
I don't even know.
Royals went to that well last year.
Their bullpen is just their
bullpen's a tire fire.
It's just a rotating.
What can you tell me about Jose Ferrer?
Yeah.
Wait, you guys have Andrew Chafin?
Yeah.
There it is. There's a rental. Andrew Chafin for a washing machine.
I was gonna say potentially yes. Jose, he's supposed to turn into the next closer, but I don't think he is.
Doesn't walk anybody. I like his walk and home run numbers.
Yeah.
I don't like his ERA being near 5. Anyway,
but this guy Connor Pilkington, apparently he's the next guy. He just got called up the other day. He would pitch 2 innings, struck out 3. He's apparently the next guy.
We'll see. Cleveland already gave up on him 2 years ago, and typically, if Cleveland doesn't think they can develop you, that doesn't bode very well for your future as a big leaguer. Anyway, so I think they will make a move. Back to your question. I think they will at least make a move for a left-hander, and I do think they're going to add to the offense. I don't know what shape that takes. I don't know if indeed that's a Lugo plus for a controllable outfielder to try and the needle threading trade that we talked about earlier, but I do not think that they are just going to stand pat. I cannot see them doing that at this stage. And if they go out and they take 2 out of 3 against Cleveland, they might be one of the more active teams at the trade deadline. That's good. What do you think? What do you think it's going to be over under? What do you think?
I think there's going to be two trades. I think they're going to get a lefty, and then I think they're going to get another outfield guy or a utility guy that can hit.
I think the utility guy is already on the team, though. I think that's the Frazier move. The retort, of course, is I said utility guy who can hit. That's the response to that, right?
I just think you add another guy. I think there's another hitter that you might want to add.
Yeah, I do too. I again.
I mean, last year they added 3 hitters.
Yeah, they did. They went at Paul DeYoung. And they added a bunch at the waiver deadline.
Oh yeah, the Robbie Grossman.
Yeah, they added Paul DeYoung, and they added
Yuli.
Trade for DeYoung. Yeah, Yuli Gurriel was another one at the waiver deadline. It was 3 guys at the waiver deadline.
Yeah, that's what it was.
At the trade deadline, I think it was Urseg, Harvey, and DeYoung were the moves they made.
Yeah.
So I mean, I guess if past his prologue, Piccolo was really busy. Of course, they had better, firmer footing with a playoff.
They were ready for the playoffs.
Yeah, they were in a playoff spot. They were trying to solidify the their position as a playoff team in the AL. Here's a very dumb over-under for you. The Cleveland Browns general manager, Andrew Berry, said today that there's a scenario in which his team keeps 4 healthy quarterbacks on the 53-man roster.
Yeah.
Quote, if there are 4 that are 53-man worthy and we think it makes the most sense for us to keep, then we will. This is just going to be an either or. Who's going to start week 1 for the Browns? And
Joe Flacco.
Okay, now here's your over-under. How many starting quarterbacks are there going to be for the Browns in 2025? Over-under 1.5 or 2.5.
I'm going 3.
You think 3
Taking
guys?
the over.
You think Flacco, Pickett, and
I think somebody
one of the
gets.
rookies?
I think they're going to be at the point in the year where Flacco's been benched. Get Pickett. Pickett's hurt, but how some teams when a guy's benched they won't go back to him.
Mm-hmm.
Then you're going to get either Dylan Gabriel or Shador week 14.
You know what would be extremely funny is if, Flacco starts first 3-4 games, predictably stinks. They go to Pickett for a little bit because the kids aren't ready. Season's a lost cause by week 10. Myles Garrett is choking his teammates on the bench because he's so mad. He's wondering, why did I re-sign with these bums? They go to whichever rookie is the most qualified. I think they'd go to Gabriel first. I think they know, if they turn it over to Shador, it's going to be a circus. Unless he's way better than anybody else. I don't think they're going to turn it over to him year 1. The funniest possible outcome is Deshaun Watson gets healthy and they run him out there week 16 and 17. He's under contract.
How many more years?
Great question. Fully guaranteed and all that.
5 quarterbacks.
I'm just saying. The note in the story here says the team expects that Watson will be sidelined for most of the 2025 NFL season. Imagine they bring the nasty man off the open. Week 17, they're 2-13, 2 games left. They bring the nasty man off the IR. Start week 7. Oh my God, that would be so funny. It would be
they cut Joe Flacco.
It would be so Browns. It would be so Browns.
Did you hear me with the Joe Flacco? I did a little bit of that Baltimore in
Did
there.
you?
Little Joe Flacco.
Thank you for that. Appreciate that. We needed that. Let's take a timeout. We'll come back. We'll talk about the best head coaches in Big 12 football. Our pal Shahan Jayaraja ranked him at CBSSports.com. We'll get into it next on 580 WIBW. 542 on 580 Sports Talk on this Thursday. Dan and Spencer hanging out with you. Friend of the show, Shahan Jayaraja, covers college football for CBS Sports, put out his Big 12 coach rankings for 2025. He's also got the comparative rankings for where they were in the Big 12 from last season, and also their national rank as well in the piece today. It's up at CBSSports.com if you'd like to read along. In fact, we don't take advantage of this as much as we should, but if you're watching on the YouTube, we're going to throw a link in the YouTube comments so that you can read the story if you'd like. Another benefit to watching the show live on YouTube, our channel is 580 Sports Talk. Matt Campbell at the top of the list. Shahan writes, Campbell's on the short list for best coach in the Big 12 every season for a reason. What he's accomplished at Iowa State is nothing short of miraculous, considering the historically moribund state of the program. Last year, he had Campbell ranked 6th in the entire Big 12. This year, he jumps to the top of the list and number 10 in his national rank as well. I don't have an argument here. Iowa State was the pits pretty much my whole adult life. And they just won double-digit games for the first time ever. And they keep winning bowl games. They keep, overperforming their recruiting rankings. And they kind of own K-State in recent years. So can't do anything but tip my cap to Matt Campbell. We got our 7-5 jokes off for a lot of years. I don't regret any of them. Many of them were very funny. But I have to give the man his flowers now. I do think he belongs at the top of this list going into 2025. I can't argue it.
Yeah, jumps up 5 spots from Shahan's list last year for the Big 12. And I think he's a coach that is they call program changing coach.
Kyle Whittingham was at the top of the rankings last year, which I would not have disputed. He drops 1 spot to number 2 this year. And then back-to-back, you have the head coaches from the Sunflower State. Chris Kleiman remaining number 3 in the Big 12 coaching ranking. Shahan had him number 3 last year, has a number 3 this year. Lance Leipold was number 2 last year, drops a couple of spots, but remains at number 4 this year. Also, Kleiman and Leipold, 14th and 15th in the national ranking. So only 1 Big 12 coach in the top 10, but 4 in the top 15 of Shahan's national rankings. I have no issue, again, with Kleiman over Leipold, especially given the fact that a disappointing season for K-State still was 9 wins, and last year KU disappointed and missed a bowl. Again, that's more about where those programs are historically, where they've been, but I do think you're comparing one coach with the other. That's something of a tiebreaker. Kenny Dillingham is 5th. This is where, to me, he just took the team we all thought was going to finish dead last in the conference last year and won the freaking league. And I guess I understand the thought of, let's see if he can do it again. Like, let's see if this was a one-year wonder thing. Let's see if he's a Cam Scadaboo merchant. But I can't say enough good things about Kenny Dillingham. He's young. He recruits his tail off. He's energetic. I think he's going to be at Arizona State for a long time. If you wanted to put Kenny Dillingham 2 right now, if you want to say Kenny Dillingham right behind Matt Campbell, I wouldn't argue with you. I really wouldn't. I think the world of Kenny Dillingham.
Yeah, I would agree.
Kalani Sitake comes in 6th. Deion Sanders 7th. This is my question about Deion Sanders as a head coach. Number 1, when's he going to get to camp? And I'm not asking this in a cruel way. I'm a little concerned that Deion Sanders' health has not allowed him to be with his team.
Yeah.
He wasn't there in the spring. He wasn't there in the summer. And the other question I have about Deion that goes beyond a personal concern for the coach's well-being, he's had some health issues in the past. I just hope the guy's all right, first and foremost. But are we sure he's a good game coach? Because that was the whole thing, even in his first season, where they managed their way out of games. They mismanaged their timeouts. They blew that 29-point lead at home to Stanford, a game he had no business losing. I think his team out-talented teams last year. That's a nod to coaching, recruiting, certainly. But can you out-talent teams without the Heisman Trophy winner playing both ways? Can you out-talent teams without an NFL prospect at quarterback? Whatever you think about Shedeur Sanders and where he should have gotten drafted in the 2025 draft, he was a legitimate NFL prospect. There's no denying that. And you go from that to Caden Salter, who I think is a good college quarterback. That's a step down. Obviously, there is no Travis Hunter's not walking through that door. They had the deepest receiver room in America last year. They got a couple guys who can play this year. Are they going to be tough enough in the trenches? That's a team last year that the teams that they could match up with in the trenches, they beat because they had more talent on the outside. They had more talent at the skill spots. But look at who beat them or who played them close. And think about the identities of those teams, the way they played in. BYU beat the hell out of them in the Alamo Bowl. KU beat them, and just their solution to Colorado was, we're just not going to let your offense on the field. We're going to keep the ball for 40 minutes and kick sand in your face for 40 minutes. Like, is CU tough enough? Can they build a tough program? I got a lot of questions. I wouldn't have Deion Sanders in my top 10. I would have other coaches on this list above him. I would not consider him a top 10 coach in the Big 12. I need to see him do it without a truly unique one-of-one talent and an NFL prospect at quarterback who happened to be his son.
Yeah. I mean, I would put Rich Rodriguez above him.
So Rich Rod kind of, to me, I think of him the same. I think of Mike Gundy. Mike Gundy's 8th on this list. That, to me, is too high for this version of Mike Gundy.
Yeah.
I have the same question about Gundy and Rodriguez. Are we sure they're still good at this?
Yeah.
Like, I'll give Rodriguez a little bit more leeway, and I will acknowledge that Gundy appears to have at least understood that he can't ignore the transfer portal, that he has to play that game if he wants to be successful and put a winning team on the field. Like that, you can't just pretend that away. But they went 0-9 in the league that year. If he were truly still an upper echelon coach, a top 35 coach in the country, how many top 35 coaches in the country are ever going 0 in league play? And it's not 0 in the SEC either. Like, not 0 in the toughest league in America. So, yeah, man, I think Mike Gundy's overrated. For Rich Rod was on the cutting edge when he was at West Virginia last time. He's 12th on the list for the record. He was on the cutting edge back when he was at West Virginia, and they were in the Big East when no one else in that league was good.
Yeah.
Can he still be on the cutting edge in Power 4 football? Can his stuff still work at the highest level of the game? I'm sure it worked at Jacksonville State, but can it work in the Power 4? I think that's a legitimate question because the Arizona tenure had some diminishing returns. But I like Rich Rod. I always have a soft spot for Rich Rod because I thought he got the rawest of raw deals at Michigan. That dude never had a chance at Michigan. They never gave him a fair shake. The fans, the university never gave him a real fair chance. And I think that altered the course of his coaching career in a negative way. But is he still the innovator that he was the first time around at West Virginia? I think that's my big question about him. The one guy I think is underrated at the bottom of the list, they have Joey McGuire 13th. They are obviously projected to be a factor in the Big 12 race this year. I think Joey McGuire is a good coach. 3 consecutive conference winning records at Texas Tech. That hasn't happened since the Southwest Conference still existed.
Jeez.
Like, you talk about moribund programs. Maybe we don't think of Texas Tech like we think of Iowa State or like we think of, Kansas historically because they had the Mike Leach era. But, like, what's Texas Tech been other than Mike Leach in their entire history? And now Joey McGuire's got them consistently going to bowls and winning football games, and they're always competitive. They're always in games. Joey McGuire, to me, would have vaulted into the top 10. I would have put him 7 on my list. I would have put him behind. I think the top 6 are right in some order. Campbell, Whittingham, Kleiman, Leipold, Dillingham, Sataki. I would have had Joey McGuire 7. I would have had Joey McGuire 7. I would have had Dave Aranda 8. I would have had, Aranda, Fritz, and Dykes are kind of tough to rank. They would have been the next 3 for me. Also, I would have had Scott Satterfield last. That's my last complaint. The last 3 on the list, Satterfield, Frost, and Brent Brennan at Arizona. Brennan is definitely on the hottest seat. Like, if you had to say which Big 12 coach is in the most danger of not returning in 2026, it's definitely Brent Brennan. And I don't think there's a close second. But I think he's a better coach than Scott Satterfield. I don't see it with Satterfield. I don't understand why Cincinnati hired him in the first place. It's never a good sign. when you hire somebody from a school and that school's fans would have helped the guy pack. So Satterfield would have been at the bottom of my list. I would have gone, my bottom three would have been Frost. No, my bottom three would have been Sanders, Satterfield, or Sanders, Brennan, and then Satterfield at the bottom would have been my bottom three.
Yeah, I would pretty much agree there.
We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. We will wrap up this edition of 580 Sports Talk after this. It is final word time on this Thursday edition of 580 Sports Talk as we bring the proceedings to a close. Spencer Dupuis, what's your final word for today?
Final word for me is we're a week out from the trade deadline, and if I'm the Royals, I still don't know. Am I buyers or am I sellers? They keep winning some games. It seems like their offense is coming on an upswing. It seems like the starting pitching is back to where we thought it would be, and then they'll go and have a decent game from the starting pitcher like they did on Tuesday, but then really no offense. So I still don't know if I'm the Royals. Do I sell or do I buy? Is Seth Lugo going to be on this team in a week? I have no clue, but if I were to guess, I think you may try to potentially trade him away, and then he says he likes it here, so maybe you try to get him back this offseason during free agency if you really want him. And then I think you need to add that lefty in the bullpen. Don't know who it is, but you got some guys coming back. Hunter Harvey on the mend, and I believe he's pitching in the complex league trying to get back, and maybe you are buyers and you hope that everything just clicks for the last 2 months of the season.
Final word for me. It did not take long for Chiefs second-round draft pick Omar Norman Lott to become one of the most interesting players at this year's Chiefs training camp, given how many reps he is getting early in camp with the starters. It appears that the former Tennessee Volunteer is going to have every opportunity to earn a starting job, even if it's not a 3-down role, next to Chris Jones in the middle of the Chiefs defense. And it's easy to see why. Unlike Mike Pennell and Jerry Tillery, the potential is there for Norman Lott to provide pass rush punch. You can never have too much pass rush, and you can surely never have too much interior pass rush. That's why the Chiefs don't have Turk Wharton anymore, because another team was willing to pay a premium for the interior pass rush that Wharton offered the Chiefs last season. In a perfect world, Norman Lott would be able to replace some of that pass rush production on the inside next to Chris Jones. Certainly when you play next to Chris Jones, you get single blocked quite a bit. If Omar Norman Lott can get off of some single blocks and wreck some havoc in backfields, that gives the Chiefs pass rush a chance to be more productive in 2025. And that is something that they absolutely need to be. That's going to wrap up 580 Sports Talk for today. No Royals baseball tonight. We're back tomorrow from 3 until 6. For Spencer Dupuis, I am Dan Lucero. Thanks for listening to 580 Sports Talk. Good night.